Hi, this is TJR, and at this year's Namm show today, I had the opportunity to cover Dwight Yoakam introducing his new signature model guitar from Martin Guitars. I was expecting a performance, but instead, we got some very illuminating insight into the history of the guitar and into the history of its influence on not only country music, but also pop and rock music as well. And I thought it was some very interesting observations from Mr. Yoakam. And just one other thing in regards to the sound quality, it was extremely loud and noisy in that place. I've done my best to enhance the audio that you should hear as much as possible, but I could only do so much with the technology available to me. But I think you'll still find this video quite fascinating. Thanks so much.
I wanted to say thanks. I came down to basically be here as the introduction of this guitar, this model, the signature model happened today. And I wanted to thank Chris, Jeff, and everybody at Martin for making a beautiful, beautiful D28 for me to have as a custom version. I've only owned the ones that I kind of found on my own over the years. Never had anything done custom by Martin for me, and when this came up last year, I jumped at the chance to work with the guys at Martin and do this, and I think we created something that's unique in its reminiscent of the earlier D28s. It's Seeker spruce top, which is what's being used now on the HD28. I found out as we were in discussions about what I'd been playing all the years. I started out with a 1972. It was the first one I ever found. I was saying to Chris, I came across it in 1985. It's the first Martin that I could afford to own, and it had been bought by somebody who had been going to college. It was at a guy's mom's house under his bed. Had not been touched since 1972, and pulled it out, and it had the old kind of gray-blue fiberglass case with it, which in the 70s people wanted rid of. They didn't like the blue cases, and it has great sentimental value to me, so that's why we've done the blue case accompanying this guitar. And the only variation on the aesthetic was the pickguard that I wanted to sort of give a wink to Lester Flatt's. Well, it's not bad sounding, plugged in. It's the best way to hear Martin. That's the best way to hear Martin. Just acoustic. But yeah, from that lick to now, I've been playing D28s, and it is the guitar that created country music, but it also created rock and roll. People forget that what you're hearing on Rain coming 16 cool Rain D28 with Elvis playing, slapping the shit out of it. It's the backbone of bluegrass music. It's really the backbone of rock and roll. When you think about rockabilly and that sound, before there was a drummer, before DJ Fontaine joined Elvis' band, it was Elvis playing drums, slapping that Martin. So, for me, that's always been the acoustic guitar business. And there are variations and reasons for using other things at different times, but I'm glad to have a Martin back in my hands that's as unique as this one. And look, there are great guitars and variations and styles of acoustic guitars made by a lot of different companies, but the Martin is unique in its sound and its impact on modern popular music, I think, all the way in through the Beatles. I can tell when the Beatles, when you hear Blackbird, they're playing on a Martin. Paul found a Martin, and it's a different moment. Rubber Soul starts to be a Martin guitar. You hear it.
Hey Jeff, we should hire this guy.
And
He's saying all the right stuff.
And as I said, the impact for me were those rockabilly records on Sun that Elvis did. It began with a D18, and I see that at times in his hands, but the D28 is what you're hearing by the time Mystery Train happens. And from there on out, until he really quit playing the acoustic, that shaped rock and roll, and to me. And it's there again. It shows up in the advent of the shift in the California sound, late '60s, with the advent of the Byrds doing country rock for the first time, really on Sweethearts of the Rodeo album. And then you see it mightily put to use in the hands of Stephen Stills with Buffalo Springfield, and then with Crosby, Stills and Nash. And it's there again in rock and roll. It ushers in a new generation of listeners and performers in country rock, in California country rock. So it's never not been a part of country music and then of rock and pop music to me, to my ear. And I'm obviously being very effusive, but because I'm thrilled to have done this with Martin and have them allowing me a signature model.